time for the Genius Zone here on Edge Radio Australia. Very excited to have this young lady beside me who young, absolutely, yeah, for sure. Look, I'm not going to go any further because, quite frankly, I'll end up in court, and I just don't want to do that. There's no safe spaces anymore. You will? Okay.
I will forgive you.
It's 2025. You never know. These days, you can say anything, you're in trouble. Lovely to have you here to jump into the Genius Zone, and we've got quite a subject today. One that I'm going to, like, quite frankly, this is sadly my territory because I fail miserably on this.
Go lay down on the couch.
Shall I? Yeah, over there. Okay, can you bring me a nice cup of tea? I'll be fine. Maybe a glass of scotch. We are going to get into the Genius Zone, and we have a special guest today, which is very, very exciting.
In fact, this is the first time on Edge Radio because we're going to do what we call hot seat speed coaching.
Ooh, okay.
Not speed dating, but speed coaching. So yes.
All right. Should we jump into it then?
I reckon. But let's firstly let's hit the ground running with the topic.
Okay.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
It's a really, it's a big topic. And, we did touch on it the other week and you showed a lot of resistance. If people go back and remember that episode, you definitely had, and you're not the only one. In fact, there's a lot of us out there that need to forgive and we don't even realize we do.
Okay, so that's a call.
This is a topic where firstly I'm going to start off with a little bit of an example. So when you think about it, forgiveness, what is so important about it? And with the guests that we've got coming on the show, she's been doing a little bit of work with me and she has just done something where she's sort of stepped into that element of her purpose and passion.
Right.
And she really senses that there's been a lot of growth. But when you've got something knocking on the door like trauma, unforgiveness, it can kind of act as a blocker.
Oh, no doubt about
it. It's sort of like a ceiling lid. So the whole idea is to smash that ceiling lid off. And I guess we can introduce her, but this lady is an aspiring coach. She's an up-and-coming, wonderful coach, and she has been working with me for a number of months now, and we just found she dropped the bomb and said, Terri, this is what I need to do. So it was her idea.
It was her idea. I want to actually just say thank you for being so courageous. Because this is a big call. Put yourself out there and be very, very raw indeed. So we haven't even met and I'm impressed. That's a good start. That is fantastic. So would you like to complete the intros? Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Right?
So with no further ado, let's bring on the brave, the courageous, the up-and-coming, confident and freedom of speech woman, Anthea Alexander.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Lovely to have you here. As I say, I'm very impressed to see someone get out there and be so raw about their emotions, with just a few people quietly listening in the background, which is, look, it's a big step. So thank you so much for being so human and so naked, I guess, with your emotions.
Yes.
Well, with your emotions anyway.
You're very welcome. And yes, I feel like I'm probably just doing something on behalf of a lot of other people and what they perhaps are wanting to be courageous enough to do. So hope to be inspiring other people as well.
That is amazing. So, a lot of us are wanting to obviously get ahead in life. We want to, obviously there's been the topic of success and becoming wildly successful. And we've talked about, well, what is success? So I'm going to fire off with the first question, Anthea, and that is that when you kind of came into the program, what did you discover for yourself that becoming wildly successful was going to be about for you personally?
So for me personally, now, first of all, just to clarify, we're talking about the recent mastermind?
Yes. So, what you aspire to being, what you were working on, what you saw yourself as being, doing, all the rest of it. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, very much about public speaking, being up front and center and on the stage, teaching people, coaching people, inspiring people. Also, for me, it's about coaching people one to one, and also in groups. I'm not entirely sure about what I'm going to be coaching about, but this will yet be revealed, and I think that this session, this radio program is going to really help me to put some pieces into place, because once I move through this forgiveness piece, it will really help me to see my journey a bit more clearly.
So, what if I told you that, in terms of you looking at content creation for what you're going to be giving to the world, chances are that it's going to be around forgiveness. I did a podcast last night, and, the lady, she came on, and like 1,000 other coaches, she wanted to talk to the world about not playing small, really speaking your truth. I mean, we're freedom of speech here, of course, on Edge Radio. And, but there are thousands of other coaches out there doing the same thing. And so what I'm looking for is what sets you apart. And then as we were going through our deep dive, I discovered that she has a special gift around birth and death.
Okay.
So the cycle of birth and death, and being able to turn death into, instead of it being such a massive loss, looking at it from a completely different lens. So in saying that, bringing it back to you, Anthea, it wouldn't surprise me if what we're going to deal with now is going to be a big piece of what you're going to be helping other people with, because remembering that when, we attract who we are. So the person that is praying for you and your service is somebody out there that is the past version of you.
Okay.
And it's it's the past version of you that is struggling, that says, oh my gosh, like, how did you get to where you are now? How did you overcome that? What is it that you actually did that helped you through it? So let's talk about forgiveness. So do you understand the concept of whom you need to forgive?
I do. Yes.
Okay. So with regards to that, so you don't necessarily have to say that person, but one of the things that we talked about during the mastermind was being able to take our future self. So the future self, let's just say you have let go and you have forgiven and you have broken through to the next level. What do you feel is going to be especially different about you? Because let's pretend here, fake it till make it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pretend that you have let go of whatever you're holding on to in that way, and tell me what changes for your life.
So what changes for my life, and I can already feel it, Terri. So it feels like it's already in the process of happening, and it is happening in my daily life, even since the mastermind, which was amazing. So for me, it's about confidence, and it's particularly about speaking with clarity and courage and confidence. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So really what you need to do is take that confidence and courage and clarity and take it back into the matrix to where you are, where you need to forgive that person. So do you know who that person is? And I'm sure that we've all got someone.
I've got a list.
Do you have?
Come on.
Okay. With the list, do you remember what we did with the list? With the list, when we took them back into the matrix, what we did was we took them back to the younger version of themselves.
Okay.
And every single person that had afflicted or, had some kind of a wound attached, we put them into our audience.
Okay.
And then we went on to the stage with the version of our super version of ourselves. That
Right.
is that we have resonated with this, new beginning and
Okay.
this new empowered self. And we see this sea of faces and we thank them. We actually thank every single person in that audience, but we do it in the matrix.
Okay.
So we are going back to the past to change the future. Does
Right.
that make
Yeah,
sense?
no, look, I've got a bit of Back to the Future vibes right now. I'm feeling a bit Marty McFly, but I get it. Absolutely. I mean, we change through life. And am I getting this right? From the attitude of, say, for argument's sake, somebody upset you when you were, I don't know, 25 years old, really hurt you, say, at that age. Do I need to, is it going to be beneficial to me to go back to that 25-year-old Aaron and then forgive them at that level?
Well, that's an excellent question, because when we're dealing with this, what we do is we go to a more significant event.
Okay.
So even though that may have felt really hard,
Sure.
there's probably something bigger and better than that one.
Always.
So what we do is we go back to the original sin,
Right.
and we deal with that original initial one that we really feel we need to let go of. And then by absolutely letting go, what we do is, did you ever join a faction in school?
We had no choice.
You had no choice. Do you remember the faction
Of
you
course.
were in?
Yeah.
I think I was in Gold faction, actually.
Well, I think it's been a fair amount of time. The old green.
Green.
Yeah.
Well, is that why you've got
Could
the
be.
branding,
Could
the
be.
green branding? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So let's just say, for example, you go for the opposition. So I don't recall a black faction in school. So let's call it black faction. So what you do is you nominate that person who is the culprit, the ringleader.
Right.
So they're like the captain of the team.
The OG. Okay.
That's it.
All right. We
So,
go back that far.
talking in layman's terms, so you nominate the one that has the biggest impact, and they are the captain of the team. And then you know that in your intention, because this is all about intention, right? So your intention is to forgive even that one at 25 years old. So they come in, and all the ones you don't even remember, because they're part of the faction. They're the black faction. So what you've done is you've said to your subconscious mind, you've set it up and said, okay, subconscious, I can't do this. I can only remember, I need to forgive this person and this person, but I can't remember,
You kind of create a group.
Fabrizio Geluso back in year 3 or whatever.
Oh, I remember him so well.
I had to make up the last name because the first name was actually true and correct.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't need to forgive him. He was a nice boy. But no, truly, you can't remember everything.
No, you
like
can't.
That.
So hang on, what are you sort of saying? That you bring them together as a collective and then you forgive as a collective? Is that
yes, so kind of.
Okay.
So it's setting the intention. So you are, for example, Anthea, do you know, you just have to say yes or no, do you know the person that you need to forgive?
Yes.
Okay. So that person, how significant were they in your life?
Extremely significant. Shall I share who it was?
If you want to, it's entirely up to you. The amount of people that ring me up and say, can you cancel that podcast? But anyway, this is going to Edge Radio Live, just as long as you know, disclaimer.
It's out in the world, for sure.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, it was my father. And, so...
Yes, okay.
A very significant figure, let's face it.
Very significant. So this one's a biggie, and I've actually said this in the show here before, but, so first of all, let's stick with the topic here. So that person is the captain of the team.
Okay.
So that person has impacted you in some way that while you are holding on to it and not forgiving that person, what you're doing is you're generating the same kind of energy patterns where that person will show up in a different outfit, even a different sexuality.
Sure.
And they will make you feel the same way. So it'll be different person, different day, but same feeling. Does that make sense, Anthea?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes. So really, Jesus died on the cross for our sins. And he forgave, whether you believe it or you don't. It's in history. It's in all the history books. You know, those people that stoned him at the cross, he forgave those. So how much greater can we forgive? We've also got elements like, you know, Charlie Kirk and his wife, where
amazing forgiveness.
she stood up at his funeral and with gritted teeth said that she forgave the person who actually executed Charlie. And it's interesting how he died, lived by the sword, died by the sword, shot in the throat. That was his voice. And then as a result, his legacy is multiplied now.
A millionfold.
You know, and of course, then you've got, even for those who follow death cap mushrooms, the pastor who lost his wife because she was a triple murderer.
Yes.
He stood up and announced that he forgave him, or her. Sorry, Aaron Patterson.
Yeah, sure.
So he actually, now that's huge. Now, why am I saying this, guys?
Yeah, I've got an issue with this because I don't know. I mean, look, I don't believe in letting people live rent-free in your head. I think that's a real problem, okay? And, you know, by not forgiving, you do allow that to happen.
Exactly.
But at the same time, some things are so heinous that they don't deserve forgiveness.
That's a very good point, because while you're saying that, you are holding on to their karma.
100%. As far as we're certainly holding on
their karma. So what happens is the universe goes, Aaron's got this. We don't need to intervene here. Aaron's got this, or Anthea's got this, or Terry's got this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're doing that, see, you're not drinking poison and expecting that other person to actually fall down dead.
Correct.
It's actually you that's getting poisoned. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into the big karmic, you know, retribution kind of whole deal. But when we are able to let go, and sometimes it's all about a perceptual shift. So whatever that person has done to you, it's caused an energy leak. So that energy leak is what you are carrying through your life today. And, you know, as an NLP practitioner, the reason I give examples like stories is because I would like to persuade you and Aaron and everybody that listens into this broadcast to be persuaded to forgive the wildest, woolliest, worst deal of a person ever. And then it might come down to, well, talk to the hand, Terry, like, yeah, you can try and persuade me all you like. And that's where story comes into play.
Okay.
So by saying, well, Jesus, you know, he forgave his own persecutors. And, you know, Charlie Kirk's wife forgave, you know, his Terminator.
Yeah.
And, you know, people have done that. So what you're telling the brain is you're saying, if they can do it, so can I.
I get all of that. I really do. It's, you know, but it's a lot easier to talk about than to actually put into practice.
So it's a bit like the Gaza deal. So so you know, we that's where I come to now, because you know there's so much brutal stuff going under there. I mean, with this whole peace thing, there's going to have to be a very major person, significant person who is able to forgive at some extent, or see it. Look, sometimes a person might say, well, you don't have any right. You don't have to forgive. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, or that person didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? You know, but it's relevant. It's the way that you felt. So, you know, in this next little illustration I'm about to tell you, because by me telling you this story, it's not about me doing the technique here on the show, but it gives you an idea of what happened. So this woman couldn't forgive her father, and she was a young woman, and he had passed away though, but she still could not let it go. So what we did was we went back into the matrix, which means we went back on the sidelines, the faction. You know, we stood on the sidelines, but we went in with all our wisdom and power of who we are today. And actually, we go one step further because we move to the next section of what if this unforgiveness is holding you back? What if it is the one thing that if you shift that, it's like the lid of the ceiling might just
that I actually agree with.
off.
I mean, I've lived a bit of that, and obviously, I mean, Anthea's got this, past, which I can tell by that wry smile that maybe you have been able to forgive it and move on. It's a very powerful thing, and some people can do it easily. Some people struggle to. Some people take years and years. I'd be very interested to see, your thoughts on that, Anthea.
And it's a perspective too. So if I was to say to you that, okay, what were the things, I'll ask you this question. If you had been given everything that you feel in this day and age that you required from that person you need to forgive, what would have he been able to give you? So when I say that, I'm talking about love. I'm just giving as an example. You make up your own security, fulfillment, encouragement. Like, what do you feel that you missed that if that was there, that would change the game for you? I need 3. I want 3 things.
Okay, so the first is emotional availability. The second is protection. And the third is...
let's go. Can I just start with emotional availability? Protection is, okay, that's a good one. I like that one.
I agree.
With emotional availability, if he had been more there for you emotionally, what would that feel like?
It would feel like I was loved, like I was seen and heard, and I would have felt more confident.
Okay, and that's exactly what you want. You want to be heard. You want to speak your truth, and that's where this is very pertinent. So we're talking love, protection, and being heard. Does that sound right? Is there anything else? Did I have anything else out there?
No, that's pretty much all rings true.
This is where I'm going to come on my soapbox.
Come on, bring it on, Aaron.
This is the importance of fathers, right? This is the importance of fathers. Everything you've just said, I considered as a dad to be my duty, right? Like to protect, to be, and to build that confidence in my children. I want my children to walk into a room and own it, all the things you went through, you just absolutely nailed it. And I think it's, I'm going to defend your dad a little bit, even though I don't know the situation. It would have been a very tough generation to be emotionally available when all you've been taught you were taught, I'm talking about your dad here, your dad was taught not to be emotionally available. So it becomes very hard to unlearn that learnt behaviour. And but we all need it. And everything you said, inside me, I mean, that to me, that is a quintessential why dads are so important.
You say that word really well, quintessential.
Oh, there you go. I'll jot that down. But for my mind, that's a big part of the reason why our world is in crisis right now, because there's just not enough dads, right?
Yeah.
Dads are not allowed to be parts of their children's family anymore. The family court's made sure of that, to break down society. And as I said, like for everybody, you think of the confidence. I think the confidence, from myself, came from my mum and my dad. I was very lucky. I'm amazing parents, right? I'm a very, very lucky guy. But as far as confidence, dads allow you to take risks, and you learn confidence through risk.
Oh, yeah.
Mums like to wrap you in a bit of cotton wool.
Yes. It's good to let your children just, be a little bit uncomfortable and just, totter on the edge a little bit. But now I'm just going to, echo a saying that my husband Ian used to always say, and that is, you cannot give away something you haven't got. Now, here is the big element here about your father. And whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, if he could not give you the protection that you wanted to feel, the love that you needed to feel, and the voice that needed to be heard. The chances are that nor was he. So therefore, he couldn't give it to you because he didn't have it to give. And so in this cycle, what we do is I took this lady back, and I know you'll be able to, your subconscious will be able to figure this out. So just so we bring it into alignment with what the faction was that we talked about. So we're going to, firstly, Anthea, I'm going to ask you to make an intention that by forgiving your father, you're going to forgive any other attachments that you've ever manifested and attracted. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Awesome. Okay, so you don't know. You won't know every single person. There might be minuscule moments and people that you've forgotten, but you need to trust your subconscious, because your subconscious knows everything, and your body is the library. So by setting the intention and by saying, yes, I agree with that, what you are doing is, when you blow that out of the water and you let go of your dad and what you perceived at that time that you didn't have, then that acts as a domino and actually moves through all of those other people in the same faction.
Okay.
Because it's relevant, they're all in the same faction, so they all represent the same thing.
I'm getting it now. When you were talking about the faction before, I'm thinking, how's she tying this in?
I know, right?
But okay, you know,
but that's what it's all about. The black faction, they're all about the people that didn't make you feel heard.
Okay.
They're the ones that, you know, that person, but you don't have to remember.
Yep.
Your subconscious about, oh yeah, that one, that one, that one. So, you know, you've got this. And when we take you back, and you can do this, I know that you can do it, to the sideline, remember that we want you to step into the super powerful you first. So if everyone could imagine for a moment, firstly, that everything that you want, get this, wants you.
Really?
Well, you are blocked from it.
Right.
But the fact is, people are really, you know, if you're looking for something that's way outside of yourself, you know, it's the same as if you think someone is really great, you know, you cannot see greatness in someone without it being in you.
Okay.
But it's also the opposite. So it flicks to the opposite. If you see something in a person you don't like, it's because it is a shadow in yourself and a blind spot.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That's showing up and flickering to you.
Right.
So if you could advance, and you can come back and do this again, and, you know, so just rewatch the replay so we don't have to, you know, take a long time to do it. So just imagine you're jumping in to the next level of yourself, and in this next level of yourself, there you are, feeling the love, feeling that sense of protection and being heard and really speaking your truth, right? So that person we are going to take, and there's so much more wisdom than even what you've got today, back to that timeline on the sidelines where your father is.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do is we are going to then watch your father shrink down to being a little boy. Because what's going to happen is, what happens, it's a strange thing, but it's just a kind of an NLP perceptual shift, if you like, pattern changer or interrupter, where you look at that person, but then you realize that they were once a small human being and they were once a child. And then you go up to that child and you sit down and you talk to them and you speak into their life and you tell them what has happened, but then you thank them. You thank them and you then let it go and say, I forgive you and I love you and I thank you. And that's the process in short, because I know we've only got so much time. And then coming back to the now with that, and also just allowing yourself to kind of meld into your father. That was the one thing I missed out. You needed to give him as a child protection,
Okay.
love,
Yep.
and a voice to be heard. And that is when you're giving him a gift and he can then impart that gift.
Really interesting, because I'm in my head, I'm playing the scenario and you think about different family dynamics, right? And I was just thinking about my father, because we're talking about dad, so why not? And where he fitted into their family growing up, and his uncle, his brother, my uncle, and their dominance and the way things, like, you can really see how people develop these habits and these mindsets, really.
Absolutely. Well, this is where it all comes from.
Yeah.
So to conclude, can you share your affirmation? Now, I'd like you to share the affirmation you've already created so it doesn't take time. And let's hear it, because the affirmation is going to be part of the incantation or the invocation, if you will, to really step you up into that next level. So share away.
Sure, I'd love to share my affirmation. So I speak my truth boldly, confidently, with courage. I speak my truth boldly, confidently, and courageously, with clarity and conviction, because it is so.
Beautiful.
Boom.
Awesome. Boom, boom. So that's it. So if you can now write a letter to your father, just between you and yourself and you, nobody will need to ever see it. Tell him all the things that you felt, and then allow yourself to forgive him, and then end it with that affirmation, which is going to become an invocation.
Can I ask a strange question? Just because in case I'm misreading the situation.
Yeah, go on.
So, do you actually post it to the person, or do you actually give it to the person, or you just keep it to yourself?
No, I actually did one where I had to write it to money.
Okay.
And because if you've got a problem with money, there's
Sure.
actually something you're doing that's sabotaging
There's
it.
a book called Where's Wally? Okay, that's what that is. Yeah,
like,
come on.
Yeah, Miss Moneypenny, and I called it Miss Moneypenny,
Oh,
right?
dear.
And and you just let it, because you can let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you need to say and just get it out of your system,
Mm-hmm.
and get it on paper. And, also remembering to then allow yourself. Is your father still alive?
No.
Okay. So allowing yourself to imagine, because what I was going to say, if he was still alive, it's quite interesting how it changes things.
Yeah, that's
and how
why I'm
people
curious.
come. Yeah, it is. It's a big one.
Yeah, okay.
There is and I quite often refer to it, and maybe I can give you some of the material here, Anthea. But there's a DeMartini method called the breakthrough experience,
All right.
and it's where you literally break down everything about that person. But the whole point of it is that everything that they've done and you see in them is in you as well.
Yeah, okay.
Good and bad,
Yep.
happy and sad. And there's always, many different elements to it. And it's the powerful part of this is that it changes the relationship. It's like magic. And I'm not just saying that. It is literally like magic, because we are energetic beings. And so therefore you've been holding this for how long?
53 years.
Is that all? 53 years.
I've said this on the show before, but this is one of the statements that was most pivotal in my life, is why are you letting them live rent-free in your head? And I, which is kind of the similar, along those veins. And I had somebody, or I've had many people have done some very bad stuff to me, okay? And, and I carried it. And guess what? You know what? It's heavy. Why the hell are you carrying it?
It was heavy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Look at you go. I know what you're doing. I see what it was.
And I wonder what it's going to be like now, Aaron, as you move forward with a whole, having let go of all of those bricks in your backpack.
Well, let me tell you, because, I have had to do this in my life with somebody in my life, and I actually forgave them for all the horrible things that they did. And although, you know, they still didn't quite get it. Yeah, maybe a little bit of narc there. Maybe they didn't quite
So
pick up on it.
when you say they didn't get it, what did you say to them for them to not get? Did you explain it to them or something?
Yeah, I explained to them what the situation was.
Okay.
And then I said, I don't want to talk about the past anymore. I want to move forward. The past is the past. It's in the rear vision mirror. I'm just here to say I love you and I want to move forward. And I don't ever want to talk about what happened. Done.
Well, that's quite amazing. But do you know, this is the part where I'm going to say they don't necessarily deserve that. I mean, I'm not saying that person particularly.
Oh, that person didn't. But you know, I threw it out there. You know.
They don't need to know about this.
Right.
This is the part that's the big mystery. You're doing this energetically for yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
And you're doing it to release yourself so that you can break through to the next level.
There's so much power in that because from my own point of view is I think it's really hard to confront people with what they've done to you. Right?
Well, it's no point.
No,
they're not going to really see it.
No.
I mean, obviously, if there is a meaningful relationship, it's really important, and that's another show altogether. But it's and I'm only talking NLP because I'm no expert on this stuff. You know, I'm very bad at confrontation. But when you realise that, you know, sometimes when you do have to face up to a person, it's not about all the opinions of what you think about them or you did this and you did that, or it's how you made me feel.
Yep.
This is what I feel because this is happening. So this is making me, and that's what you've got to do in your letter. You've got to say, you know, you did this, 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 and this is how that made me feel, because it's about your perception.
True. This is your relationship with you, right?
Absolutely. And it's about you advancing, not the other person. It's got nothing to do with them, and it's none of their business even that you went around this hurdle and even did it. Don't give them the gratification.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I've also adopted this is, you know, let the rubbish take itself out. It makes a difference. Like if you release it from you, right? You release the pain and the anger and all the disappointment from you, and they're gone. They just dissipate from your life. They disappear, and the rubbish takes itself out, and you feel so much lighter for it.
Absolutely.
And you haven't had to have the uncomfortable conversation. You haven't had to have the confrontation. It's just
And it's an energetic thing too, and it's legacy work, because what that then does is it changes a chain of things. It's like this thing with Gaza. Can you imagine if the right people can let go and forgive? That's going to go down in history. That's going to be massive.
I think that's a pretty big ask on that one.
That's a big ask. We'll find out.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's everybody's point of view. And coming back to your point of view, it's really about you setting yourself free, being set free now to be able to move forward, because there's no screaming monkey in your ear or that voice that's telling you to play small anymore, because you've let it go and you've claimed back your power.
Anthea, do you feel that you can play it big because you've let go of that?
I'm already playing it big. Look at me on this radio show.
Yes, this is a big thing. This is huge.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, we've just
okay, true.
Yeah, okay, that is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anthea's done quite a lot of work, and even the group work. And may I suggest that just as a bonus here, the elements of what happened to you as a result, like playing small, feeling this, feeling that, shrinking, that's probably your client. That is probably the person who is praying to hear from you. And guess what? You're going to be the authority on that, because that's your experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So go you, go girl.
Yeah.
Okay, can you say this after me? I forgive that person now.
I forgive my father now.
Awesome.
That's great to hear.
And I am set free.
And I am set free.
Awesome. Love it.
Yes. Sorry. In my mind, I've got some terrible jokes. I'm just thinking about You know, oh, look, I'm just, if you truly love something, set it free. If it doesn't come back, hunt it down and kill it.
That's exactly what Ian used to say. Hunt it down and kill it. Oh my gosh!
I don't mean that.
Yeah.
Don't call the cops.
You've got to have a joke.
You've got to. Life has got to have a bit of light in it, right? And we take life so seriously, don't we, Anthea? And I appreciate.
We do.
Look, coming on today, I'm just I'm really appreciative because it is a big, bold move for you, and for anybody who's carrying something like that. And we don't even, I don't know what you're carrying, but I can see the weight that you've released.
Awesome.
Yes. And maybe you can even let us know, give us some feedback about what you do. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more work that you do on yourself behind the scenes. And even as you go to listen back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because listening back to the replay will give you some insight about, okay, then I'm going to go back into that room and I'm going to forgive him and do all those things. So, yeah.
Yeah, and listening back is so much easier than reading. So, go the Slack option, right? Yeah, much easier. Much easier. Love that. All righty. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate this, Anthea. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, will you have any parting words for us today there at all?
Parting words?
Parting words.
Well, this is for you. This, forgiveness is possibly, if it wasn't such a big topic, why would someone so credible such as Dr. John Demartini do a massive breakthrough on it? Because people, when you can forgive and let go, and then it's about forgiving yourself.
Yeah, that's a biggie. That's a tough one.
The forgiveness of yourself is the biggest one of all, the biggest breakthrough. And, when we get to forgive all the people in our life that hurt us, that's when we'll probably have that opportunity to then say, I forgive me. But it's about doing those incremental little gratitudes and saying, I accomplished this. This is what I've done. Write it down. Write that person a letter and thank them and know that they are part of your legacy and your genius zone.
We are all a work in progress. Simple as that. Thank you for being part of the Genius Zone here on Edge Radio Australia.